Gigi, and I'm a professional pastry chef. Today, I've got all the tips you need to decorate your cake with real flowers, like a pro. So let's start with the fresh flowers. There's many options out there. If I can give you the first tip, just make sure the flower you use, it's okay to place on the cake. So just go to your florist and ask them any recommendation. They should be able to just tell you which ones are better to use in cake, which ones are not. That's a really important tip. Don't just pick any flowers from the garden and put on your cake, not safe. Second tip is just make sure you choose a flower that is in season. That's gonna give you a really nice, colorful flower to play around in your cake. Another tip is just think about the size of your flowers. If your cake is way too big, you don't wanna use small flowers. If you choose some small flowers, you need to have different sizes, so it just gives you a better design. If your cake is too small and you choose big flowers, it won't look as nice either. So just try to be proportional with the sizes and the cake you have. Other option of fresh flowers is edible flowers. They're very common nowadays in restaurants. You can find in your supermarket. Usually you should see on the label say edible flowers, and they have different colors and sizes, and they're beautiful. There is other options to place flowers in your cake. One of them is sugar paste. You just mold the flowers using sugar, icing, and then they just create a really nice shape. Other option is chocolate. Heaps of fun as well. You can make chocolate flowers, just place in your cake, it looks beautiful. So what I'm gonna show you is how to apply edible flowers and fresh flowers on a cake. Well, I have a blue cake here. I apply this watercolor technique, but I just use one color in different tones. So because the cake is blue, I choose very vibrant pink colors and dark purple and some yellow. So we're just gonna play around with all of them. And the effects I want is have one big flower as a statement, and then I'm just gonna play the edible ones around, making like a cascade. That gives you a really nice movement on your cake design. Another tip, you need to treat the stem. You can't just stick your flowers straight in your cake. It's not safe either. You can ask your florist to do for you, but they might charge you. So I'm just gonna show you how to do, might save you some money. For that, we're gonna need florist tape, tweezers, and a scissor. First, stream your flower a little bit, don't need much, just enough to make a structure on the cake. And you're just gonna treat the stem. So you're gonna get a wire, and then you're just gonna pinch around your flower like that, halfway through. And you're just gonna fold and trim. So what the treatment does is first give you a structure. It's gonna protect the flower to be in contact with your cake, and now it's gonna keep your flower moist, so they're not gonna die that easy. So that's really cool. So once we have that, you're gonna need your florist tape. Now with the florist tape, what you need is just a little piece. This tape is super cool because what it does is actually stretch. So start with the little bit. Just gonna place around here, hold with your finger, and you're gonna stretch. See how it's stretching? And you just move around and stretch. So see how we did here? We just stretched the tape all the way to the end. So now it's safe. We can stick down the cake whatever you want. And if you use many flowers, you just have to do that one by one, okay? So I'm gonna place my big flower in the center. And I'm just gonna go work around this flower now. So just pick the color you want, the flower you want. I'm gonna start with the red ones. And leave some gaps for the other colors. Just have fun with that by using flowers different ways, different colors. See how beautiful is the vibrant colors just contrasting with the blue? Okay, so what I did here, I start with one edge of the cake, and now I'm just gonna start flowing as a cascade all the way to the bottom. So because they're edible flowers, they have a very thin petal, they stick straight away on the buttercream. So just keep going around and around. Make sure you have a really nice contrast. There's no no rules really. Once you got the big flower, it's just flowing down. It's looking beautiful already. So now what I'm gonna do, I just get these smaller edible flowers. I'm just gonna place in any gaps I can see, just to make a contrast. As I mentioned before, if you're using small flowers, just play with the sizes. It's gonna make a really nice effect. They're really cute, these little ones. All right, so that's a good example of how to mix very colorful flowers in a plain blue cake. Where if you're comparing with this one, we have a lot of colors in our watercolor cake. So I decide just to use one plain white flower, just a way so you can style your cake. Try not get too busy, so just think about the colors you have on your cake with the flowers, and I'm sure you're gonna create a really beautiful design. All right, I hope you enjoy all the techniques I gave to you. Make sure you remember the tips and get out there and be creative. And don't forget to get arty.
I love walking through the Australian bush, and one of my favourite things to do is to spot the native Australian flowers. Now, you can't pick these from the bush or a national park because most are protected. So today I'm going to pick up a bunch from a florist and make a flower bomb. To make your flower bomb, you're going to need some flowers, a florist sphere, some scissors and ribbon, and a cup. Let's get started. Now, before you start, you need to soak your foam ball in water for 20 minutes. This will keep your flowers alive for longer. Get your length of ribbon, thread it through the netting, and tie it into a loop because that will be a lot harder to do later when flowers are in. Do a nice double knot. All of my flowers have been pre-cut to about 2 to 3 centimetres long. It's really easy. Just push them down and in. You might have to have a bit of a firm hand. So I'm using paper daisies and wax flowers. Paper daisies are great because they're large and fluffy, and wax flowers can fill in all the little bits in the middle. Now keep going until the whole sphere is covered. You might have to go over it a few times and fill it in. If the stems are too long, just snip them off at the end. I'm about to flip my flower bomb over so I can finish the bottom side. So slowly pick it up and place it down on the cup and complete the other side. Now you want to use a flower with lots of petals so it's nice and fluffy and covers the ball. And if you'd like to use a softer petal flower like a rose, you have to be a little bit more gentle than what I'm doing. Okay, just checking there's no holes. I think we're good. Oh, that's heavy. And there we go. It's the bomb. So pretty.
Four years ago, when I graduated from the art school in Singapore, one day my grandmother It was her birthday. I plucked up one of the roses in her garden. I thought that it looked like a puffy dress, and she really loved it a lot. From then onwards, I started to make a whole series of flower artworks. Start a piece by looking at the texture of the flower, the color, and also what it resembles. Usually I'll paint the background, and after that I will paste the flowers on it. My main concept for my artwork is that all these works, they don't last. They're all nature, and you should know that nature comes and goes. That's the beauty of it. My very first memory of art was I started drawing since the age of 4. Just drawing everywhere in the house, the walls, the floor. My mom brought me to drawing lessons, so that's where I started. I never stopped ever since. My name is Limzy, and I'm a visual artist. I specialize in floral artwork.
Today, I'm going to show you how to put flowers on your head with this delicious florally headband. Now, the things you're going to need are a headband. This has to be covered in fabric. That's very important. You need some tools that can cut wire, so you can cut the flowers. You need a pair of scissors. They should probably be a bit bigger than this though. And a glue gun. And of course, you need a whole bunch of fake flowers. You can get these from any discount store. They're pretty easy to find. We'll start with our headband. I'm gonna pop it down on the table, and I'll start selecting the flowers that I would like to use. I'm gonna think about which colors I'd like to go together. Most of these will just come off at the stem. You can just pull them like that. But some of them have wire in them, so that's what the wire cutters are for. Since we're using a glue gun, remember that it gets really hot, so be careful. What we're going to do is glue the fabric part of the flower to the fabric part of the headband. It's very important that fabric glues onto fabric or it's going to fall off. All right, here we go. Every time I need to add a new flower, I pick up a few and I test them out to see where they might look good. Something to keep in mind is you want bigger flowers up the top and smaller ones down the sides, so you kind of get an arc shape. I think that looks good there. Sometimes you might need to cut them to size. What will I pick next? Maybe something smaller. These are good, or something like this. Once you've done the front, flip it over, and you want to clean up the back and then put another row of flowers just to cover all your handiwork. I'm going to cut this because it's just in the way. If there are any extra stems poking out, you just want to snip them. You can also use leaves or anything else you find on the flowers to cover up the back. Don't worry if you get attacked by the glue gun strings. They'll just end up all over you. It's fine. This is your life now. And there you have your very own flower crown. Double flower crown.
I'm Limzy. I'm a visual artist and I use flowers in my artwork. Today I'm going to show you how to do your own fish in a pond artwork. I'm using watercolor to paint the background of the pond. So we're mixing blue and white together. I find that watercolor complements my flowers better. So before you sketch the fish, you will want to make sure that the fish is about a similar size of the flower. So you can try to compare the size. So imagine that this is the tail of the fish. So I'm just gonna draw a fish about this size. Just add the details and the fins. Because we're using red and orange roses today, we're going to match the tones and colors with red and orange as well. I like to put all the colors together so that I could mix them easily. And when you're done, you can start painting. Brighter colors like yellow, white, orange and red. Because I'm having orange and red roses and other flowers today, so I'm using more of the brighter colors for the fishes. You can add spots to create texture. You can add the details like the fins. And we're just gonna let them dry. After that, we can continue with the flowers. We're going to use roses for the tail and also carnation. And I'm going to use this large leaves, cut out the stalks as if they're lily pads. You could also use flowers that you find in your garden or the florist, or you can use artificial flowers. Pluck out some of the petals. I'm just gonna trim a bit to fit the size of the cup. I would suggest that you use scissors or tweezers when you need to do small arrangements of the petals. The flowers are very delicate, so you have to be very gentle. Work until you're satisfied with it. And when you're done, you can use the glue to paste. So when you're using the glue, just dab a bit at the back of the petal and just press it down gently. You can find inspiration everywhere. Just go to the park. There are a lot of beautiful landscapes here in Australia. You can just do anything because the sky's the limit. And that's all, that easy.
And to make the fish better, I'm just going to add a bit of gold essence everywhere. I always love using gold or silver paint to add a bit of sparkle and shine for my artworks. And we're done.